Welcome to Dubai, the world's fastest growing metropolis, a city of extremes and once again the venue for the first leg of the IRB Sevens World Series. Now in its 8th year, the series and the teams will globetrot across 5 continents once again. From Dubai, they'll travel on to George in South Africa, then across the Pacific to Wellington, New Zealand in February, and from there to the first new venue, San Diego, USA. As ever will be at the renowned Hong Kong Sevens, and then another new venue, Adelaide in Australia. And from down under we'll move on to Europe and London, England, before what should be a thrilling climax at the spiritual home of the game in Scotland at the beginning of June. The series is of course run on a Grand Prix format with 20 points awarded for winning a cup title. 16 go to the runner-up and 12 to the losing semi-finalists. Winning the plate and bowl competitions will earn a team 8 and 2 points respectively. Last year's IRB Sevens was a ferociously contested affair from the first game to the last, as England, South Africa, Samoa and Fiji all mounted powerful challenges to wrestle the IRB Sevens crown from perennial champions New Zealand. And in the end, no one could stop the irrepressible Fijians from adding the series crown to their triumph at the Rugby World Cup Sevens in Hong Kong. It was desperately close and exciting as England, the eventual runners-up, took them right down to the wire. And not until they won the very last tournament at Twickenham could Fiji celebrate their first ever World Series success. But that was last year. Who are the likely contenders this time around?
We struggled at times to adapt to the rigours of a World Series campaign. But this year, I've got more younger players and it's providing them with real opportunities. But I know that if they certainly play to their potential and we certainly collectively put it together as a team, it could be a very good side.
It's going to be a tough challenge for the young boys, but they're very, very keen to take that challenge on. And as I've said to them, it's not what's gone on in the past that matters, it's what happens tomorrow, Friday and Saturday.
To go into the first tournaments with a core group of players like Kabamba, Stefan, Philipberg, Jonathan McQueen, Daniel Dimas, I think it's gonna mean a lot to the team.
We want to win a league, and now we are bringing some other new players to this level, and I hope that they will do much better than last year.
Nuestro objetivo es estar dentro de los
Our plan is to be in the top 4 in the world by the end of the year. It's a hard task because we have some new players and some very young players and plenty of changes in the team. But I'm very confident that with these players we can be in the top 4.
I've told the boys we have to reset goals again. We have to work harder than what we've done last series. And even though we won the series, but we made a couple of mistakes. We want to learn from there. We want to get better.
But before the competition began, Serevi and co indulged in some traditional Dubai hospitality. Dune bashing in 4x4s and camel rides were probably alien to the South Sea Islanders, but a good time was had by all before they met up with the rest of the teams at a desert banquet, which included some other traditional delights. So some much needed downtime after a hectic week travelling and training. But had the thrill of the ride frightened the Mercurial Master?
I'm not scared, I was happy. At one stage I was jumping out of the car because the car was still planning, and I thought to have a run to show the drivers that they're still late, they have to go. So I was quite happy what happened in the sand dunes today.
So those were the favourites, but 10 other teams were here from across the globe to commence battle for this year's title, all capable of springing a surprise. And this is how they met in the 4 qualifying pools, the defending champions with the honour of playing the first game of the new season. The Flying Fijians opening their account with a strong showing against Kenya, Lepani Nambuliwaka crossing for 4 tries in a 45-0 win. Elsewhere in Pool A, there was an early shock for the Aussies as they were beaten by Portugal for the first time in the history of the series.
And that's been greeted with huge applause in the grandstand, always favouring the underdogs here in Dubai.
And the little pop down the blind side They nickname him Popcorn. I'll tell you what, it might be champagne after this.
Australia coach Glenn Eller was left to rue a lack of experience as the Portuguese made another huge stride in their development as a rugby nation. That defeat left the young New Look Wallaby team needing an unlikely win against the mighty Fijians to make the Cup quarter-finals.
And it could still turn Australia's way. 2 metres out, can the offload come? Yes, it does. The try for James Louis. What a remarkable turnaround.
That's unbelievable. I don't think we've beaten Fiji for many, many years now. You know, it's unfortunate we were very rusty in that first game with, 11 guys who haven't played on the series, and I think just got overawed by the atmosphere, and, we couldn't win it.
In Pool B, another shock delighted the crowd as Zimbabwe came up trumps against a lacklustre France for the first time.
There's Daniel Hondo. Brilliantly taken try by the Zimbabwean number 6.
Scotland also proved a stern test, confusion over a French touchdown leading to the opening try.
Does he get it down? We look to the referee, who looks to his touch judges, and I don't think they did, and it's not awarded. And now a runaway try is coming in for Robertson, and this will be controversial. Mark Robertson has sprinted the length of the field. That try was not awarded, therefore the ball was still in play as it bounced away, picked up by Mark Robertson. Terry Janusek, known for being a volatile Frenchman, can only do a Gallic shrug.
But the French redeemed themselves to take the game 21-14 and qualify for the Cup quarter-finals on points difference. The English, champions here in Dubai for the last 2 years, were again helped by a passionate expat support. They swept all before them in their pool, this try for Nick Abendanon ensuring a 19-7 win against the French. In Pool C, the Tunisians provided a third shock, catching the Pumas cold.
So here's an opportunity then for Tunisia. On the attack through Sabri Gemir, finds the gap. He's isolated, needs someone to come, or does he? Oh, brilliant work here by Tunisia and by Gemir. It's a breakaway try from one end of the field to the other. Marvellous try, marvellous individual effort from Sabri Gemir.
But they were brought back down to earth with a bump as South Africa dominated Pool C. This try by new Sevens captain and recent Springbok debutant Kabamba Floors, one of 18 tries scored by Paul True's men in the pool stages. The Canadians also qualified for the Cup as they compounded a miserable day for Argentina, beating them 28-17, Rob Turk among the tries. In Pool D, a much-changed New Zealand breezed past Wales, dominating possession in a 31-12 win.
And that's New Zealand scoring without really Wales touching the ball from the kickoff.
And there was to be further drama as Samoa and Wales battled to join them in the last 8.
Looking to cut back inside, it is a third try for Wales, scored by Jonathan Edwards, showing tremendous maturity as Jonathan Edwards on the circuit for the first time this season.
The Welsh had done enough with that gritty win by 17 points to 14, but had they?
Now, Alatasi gives it now to Louis. Try time. Well taken by Lolo Louis.
Louis' brace taking Samoa through to the quarter-finals at Wales' expense. They play tournament favourite South Africa in the last 8, while defending Dubai champions England entertain the rejuvenated Aussies, Fiji play France, and New Zealand face Canada. After a glorious first day, the party atmosphere was challenged when, oddly for Dubai, the heavens opened and the worst rain in 10 years fell on the Exiles' ground. Not that it dampened the spirit of the fans or the teams. England had a rude awakening in the opening exchanges of their game against the Wallabies as the Aussies picked up where they'd left off against Fiji with this try.
The support is good though, and it's away with David Dillon, and Dillon will be in close to the post. Now to Strettle. Has he got a bit of room on the outside? It's a good hand-up. He's in at the corner at least. Coasts in, can't take it round and sensibly doesn't. Slides to glory.
Strettle's second try brought an end to Aussie hopes as England reached the last 4 again and closed in on a hat-trick of titles. New Zealand made light work of the Canadians as Rene Ranger scored the pick of their 5 tries. The same could be said of Fiji as they eased past the French, Serevi's protégé William Ryder dominating proceedings, helping himself to 4 tries and producing this immaculate piece of skill to set up Naomi Nanuku for his score.
Here you are, you think he'll go himself. He knew he was there, and that was inch perfect in torrential rain.
Top try scorer on day 1 was Danwell Damas, and it wasn't long before he was in on the act again with his 7th try of the tournament against the Samoans.
He's got pace as Danwell Damas. But so, as the Samoan defender, Leah Palala. Now then, the touch judging goal will have to make a quick decision here. A shake with the head, the try is awarded. Quickly taken by Van der Merwe. He's got Basson lurking on his inside. Philip Berger went on the dummy run back to Basson. An injection of pace takes him away from the defence, and that's his 2nd try, which takes him out over the 500-point mark in his career and probably seals South Africa's place in the Cup semi-final.
A late rally by Samoa, including this sweeping length of the field try by George Akere, wasn't enough though. In the semi-finals, South Africa would face champions of the last 2 years, England, while the New Zealanders would take on a confident Fiji. Join us after the break. One of the most intriguing subplots to the opening stages in Dubai, and indeed the IRB Sevens World Series since it started, is the ongoing battle to be the all-time leading try scorer. Ben Gollings of England, who's also the top point scorer in the history of Sevens, had 140 tries to his name at the start of the season to stand top of the league, while Santiago Gomez-Cora, the Argentinian flyer, had crossed the whitewash 138 times in his Sevens career. But just how aware are they of the record and of their jewel?
When I'm on the pitch, I only think about the team and being part of that team. The try scoring is just part of my role within the team and just part of my game. And when I'm on the pitch, I really don't think about it that much.
I am aware of it, but I don't try to think about it too much. You know, if I get this opportunity to score a try, I will. I guess I've had a fair few opportunities in the past, but no, I just like playing and look forward to maybe scoring a few more points.
And their try-scoring feats continued during the pool and quarter-final stages, with Gomez-Cora once again overtaking the Englishman. But the mutual respect and the rivalry will surely continue for some time yet.
I guess he'll be going for it. I remember when he first took over the record, he was pretty ecstatic in New Zealand, but you know, it's one of those things, I think, it's a good bit of fun, you know, it just adds a little bit extra to the game.
He's a really good player, and he's also an important player for his team, England. And of course, he's one of the greatest try scorers of all time, as well as top point scorer. So you just have to respect that.
It was showtime in the cup competition as the rain kept teeming down relentlessly, making for atrocious conditions. New Zealand faced Fiji, and for coach Gordon Titchens that meant an early crack at the team that defeated them in all 7 of the cup quarter and semi-finals they contested last year.
Ryder and number 12 for New Zealand is Lawrence, very secure in the tackle that time. Here is Vakau, number 4, and number 1 is Nangalavuki. Sorelli Nangalavuki, that is the goal line just behind us, and here's a chance for Edwin Cocker, and the referee says try. New Zealand on the board. Edwin Cocker in Fijian territory, grasped away by Pelanise, and he gives it in to Lawrence, gets away and hands it to Solomon King. He's tipped over 10 metres out. He wasn't held, and now he is. He gets it away now to Rakambola. Try for New Zealand, that's their second.
Titchens was obviously pleased with his team's 10-0 lead at half-time. There was more work to be done.
so nothing changes in the second half. Nothing flash, just a bit more ball maintenance, that's all. Looking after it a bit more in contact. Good pressure flex over there, that's good work.
And it was the men in black who again started with a bang in the second half.
Zara Lawrence breaks the halfway, there's no one in front of him. Now, has he got the speed to go all the way? I think he has. There's been a lot of questions about have New Zealand got speed. Well, he's got speed to blow away the opposition there and zoom in for splash down, and it's a try for Zara Lawrence. Here's a chance now for Bolabola, and this is a try. Very well taken. Zakau has scored it.
Fiji's valiant effort to close the scores proved too little too late as Tichen's unfancied New Zealanders went through to the final by 17 points to 12.
Tich told us we're going into the game as underdogs, so at the end of the day the boys sort of just come together and said, you know, it's going to be a game full of passion. So the boys gave it everything, and we knew that we're going to be underdogs, so we had nothing to lose. We went out there. It's been a long time coming.
With Mike Friday having announced his resignation as coach, England's young guns were out to impress, and the second semi-final promised to be a war of attrition between two of the more physical teams in the competition. And after some ferocious South African defence, it was Philip Berger who broke the deadlock for the Boks shortly before half-time.
Philip Berger, in only his 5th tournament, kept his composure and gives South Africa the lead. Basson has Damas, but he's doing his own thing at the moment. It's Berger's angle kick. Oh, it's bounced perfectly, and Rhino Benjamin increases South Africa's lead. Not much possession for the Springboks since the start of this second half, but they've made the most of this opportunity.
The English never really looked like scoring in the second half, and when Rhino Benjamin notched his second try, their fate was sealed as South Africa claimed a deserved place in the final.
Knew that if we can match them up physical, we got a chance beating them, and they applied the physical game right at the beginning, and we just made them physical, and they were out of it.
In the other finals, Wales finished the tournament on a high, winning the Shield title with another victory over pool rivals Arabian Gulf. The bowl and 2 series points went to Argentina as they recovered from the disappointment of day one, beating ever-improving Zimbabwe even without the injured Gomez Cora. And it was Samoa who took 8 points in the plate as Michaele Pessamino grabbed a brace in their convincing win against France. So after 43 matches and a torrential downpour, the stage was set. The final between New Zealand and South Africa. Match commentators are Nigel Starmer-Smith and Keith Quinn.
Good possession retention. Lawrence wide. On to Nigel Hunt. Has pace. And here he goes. Hunt it is. Deceptive speed for a small man. But it's a good build-up. Good retention of the ball. Going inside. Can he get the ball away? The try is scored by Cocker.
And he opened the scoring in the semi-final against Fiji as well. So if that's an omen, it's an excellent start for New Zealand. Edwin Cocker, excellent play again by Nigel Hunt, so strong and so determined. And then look at this pass from Lawrence, getting to the touchline, rolling it in, tipped in defence, but straight into the hands of Cocker.
Hunt. Ball is out. It's a turnover ball for the Springboks. And there's a bit of back chat here from Hunt. He's living dangerously. It could cost him 2 minutes. I think he's off for 2. Or is he? Is it just going to be a warning? Keith.
So that was very lucky for yellow.
Well, it must have been something strong that was said by Nigel Hunt. And that could turn this game around. He's off for 2 minutes.
But South Africa failed to capitalise with Hunt off the field for 2 minutes, and he came back on to make an immediate impact.
Here's Hunt. This is Forbes. Hunt again. This is good interplay. Good take by Lawrence. Cuts back inside. Oh, that's brilliantly done. Absolutely brilliant. And Hunt goes again and slides to glory. One moment the villain, the next second the hero. Look at the wrestling, the upper body strength. It's a vital element in this game, particularly in these conditions. Basson, one way, then t'other. Wants to get play away, and Damas is there to chase. That's a fantastic fly hack downfield. Oh, a cruel bounce. Takes it to touch on the 22. Well, Damas so nearly at the far end. I'm pleased to see Stefan Basson back on his feet, but what a half. But the initiative is taken by New Zealand as we come to the half-time break.
Paul True's men were certainly up against it for the first time in the tournament. Could he turn things around?
In the half-time huddle of the Cup final here in Dubai, we heard Coach Gordon Dinson from New Zealand say, don't send too many to the rucks, slow it down to his team and D it up, which is defence, 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 really. And from Paul True, let's play the ball, and here they are breaking away at the start of the second half, playing the ball. Berger kicks through. 12-0 to New Zealand. He has it again. He off-passes it. And the new man into the game is Tabela Ndaka, and he scored straight away. So they have played the ball as their coach Paul True wanted, and they've scored. Strong wide cross kick claimed by Alfred Pellanise. Now he's behind his own goal line. That's a long way to go through the mud and the slush, and he's caught. And Cocker goes on his head in the mud and the slush. And Benjamin flashes it away now to the wonderful running Dimas. And now it's out wide to Mokoena. 2 floors, and a try for South Africa levels the game up. Remember, all the legs will be weary after 2 days of playing in these conditions. And here again is Ndaka, and he's away. This is 3 for South Africa in the second half.
Some comeback this. Tabela Ndaka coming on as replacement. What an impact man he has proved to be.
Basson, he's got Damas out to his right. One man to beat. Danwell Damas gets around the New Zealand captain, and the point production continues for South Africa. Basson from floors. Basson with great speed. Basson all the way.
That's the winner.
He actually veered off into the muddiest part of the field to celebrate. You often see this from South African people because they don't have too much mud back home. And, well, look at them now. And it's a massive victory. 2 great coaches, but this time we look to Paul True, because at halftime he emphasized, let's play the ball, and then he said to his team, you're going to do it.
You could see that they were really focused and switched on for that first 10 minutes. But just the way we came back in that second half, you know, I just said to the guys, they must just stay relaxed and keep their calm. And I'm just glad we could do it in that second half.
The second half was all about the possession. We never got it, and we certainly did a lot of chasing, and they've got some very, very quick players.
As always, the Springboks took a moment for quiet thanks before raising the trophy.
Give it up, South Africa!
So, first blood in the new IRB Sevens World Series goes to South Africa, with New Zealand, England and Fiji also picking up valuable early points. But after a wet and wild weekend in the Middle East, who will step up to challenge the mighty Boks on home soil in George next week? See you then.